Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're familiar with our channel, you would have seen this vehicle on our weekly updates that we've started doing, but I thought it was special enough that it's allowed to have its own independent video. A little clue, it's even got one on the key here. So what this is a 2018 registered but 2019 Range Rover SV Autobiography, which is obviously from the Special Vehicle Operations Department. It is the P565, which is a 5-litre V8 supercharged engine producing 565 brake horsepower, and it also has a few additional extras over and above what comes on a standard Range Rover, which, let's be honest, they're pretty well spec'd to begin with, but I just absolutely love it. I've never had an SVO vehicle in our stock before. That's because obviously they're not too common of a vehicle, but they're just tremendous vehicles that have now come into really reasonable value given how much they were brand new. So the list price on this one was knocking on the door of £170,000, of which it is now, as you can see, £39,995. So that's a quarter of its original list price, and it's only, what is it now, 6 years old, which is just mind-boggling to me. It is a little bit higher on the mileage when we've got it into our stock. It's on 94,000 miles, but it is only 2 private owners from new and supplied both times via our local JLR dealership down in Saltash. It's Roger Young Land Rover, of which they're a really reputable Land Rover dealership. So the fact that they've supplied it twice is great, and they've also serviced it throughout its entire life. We've also done a service and an MOT, of which it MOT'd with no advisories. It has very clearly been well looked after on this particular car, and in terms of additional extras and the colour options that they've chosen, it's right up my street. I absolutely love it, as I say, when it come in. Just little things, the fact that it's got the carbon inlays within the Range Rover lettering on both the bonnet and also the tailgate is really quite cool. Obviously these are upgraded headlights as well. They're part of the additional extras. They're pixel LED and very, very clever to drive with of a night time. It's got a few additional extras such as the driver's assistance package, which is adaptive cruise control with the steer assist. We've also got heads-up display. We've also got this most amazing interior as well, which I'm looking forward to showing you as well. So obviously bear in mind this is from factory. This isn't like an overfinch or anything like that afterwards, but you've got these beautiful quilted diamond seats in there as well. They are heated, ventilated with the massage function, and it's even got the additional hot stone massage function, which was over and above the standard seats on this here. There's also subtle things such as the adjustments on the end of the armrest here. Obviously it tells you an SV Autobiography within the center and also on the digital dash, and you can also see it's got the red paddle shifters in here as well. The leathers come up really, really well. It's a little bit dirty when it came in, but it came up really, really well. A really nice additional extra, which I think keeps it, for a lot of audiences, is this carbon inlay, because sometimes you get these Range Rovers, they're, let's be honest, a bit old man spec when they've got wood or light wood or whatever it might be. Coming into the rear, again keeping in theme with the diamond leather stitching, but you've got these 2 rear entertainment screens, and you'll notice on the other side there you've got a footrest on the back of the passenger side. This seat does a full recline position with a calf rest as well, and we couldn't believe the amount of stuff that's actually heated in this car. So obviously within the rear you've got heated and ventilated seats with a massage function, but this center armrest, when that comes down here, you wouldn't believe it, that again keeping the carbon throughout, which is absolutely gorgeous. There's carbon everywhere. We've also noticed on all of the buttons there's these SV Autobiography dials and everything on the surrounds, which is really quite smart. This is heated, and the door card, so this bit here on this door card too, that section is heated, which is crazy. The calf rest is heated, and then obviously the seat itself along with the headrest it's all amazing, and then obviously you've got the ventilated features on there as well. But yeah, just what an absolutely stunning car, and I think obviously becoming more and more rare as time goes on, especially when they've got a massive lump such as the 5-litre V8 powering the front of it. This one also has the towing pack, which is a deployable tow bar in the rear. And as much as it would be absolutely awesome to tow with, because Range Rovers are in general, I wouldn't want to be footing the fuel bill if you're towing something heavy, just because obviously the economy is never going to be that good to begin with. But we have also given it a good polish whilst it's been here. Literally, I rolled it out of the showroom this morning after giving it a good polish, and the paintwork has come up absolutely fantastic. Another good sign is the fact that it's got the Continental tyres all around, all of really decent tread. You'll see reminiscence of polish that I've been doing on there. But we are going to get the alloy wheels refurbished, just because there are a couple of marks on the alloys, and obviously a car like this, of this caliper within our stock anyway, we like to have it that it's all absolutely what it should be. Obviously got the usual features, 360-degree cameras, leather headlining with the opening panoramic roof. And one other thing to note, because it's come from the SVO department, it comes as standard with the 1700 watt Meridian sound system, which is absolutely tremendous. So yeah, just what a car. I mean, as I say, love Range Rovers as it is. They drive absolutely tremendous, which I'm going to show you in a minute, but just very, very excited. If I didn't have my Defender and I didn't have my two dogs, I would absolutely be jumping into this, especially because obviously this one, now being a 68 plate, is then falling into the later tax kind of regime on the UK government side of things, and it's now dropped its VEDs because it is that 6 years old. Of course it was, as I say, over like near £170,000 new. It was over £40,000 list price, which meant it was subject to about £600 a year's tax. Now £195 a year for an absolutely incredible, monstrous V8 that powers this gorgeous Range Rover SVAutobiography. So yeah, really, really excited to have it into our stock. It's already generating a fair bit of interest, as you can imagine, and you can see why, because it is, as I say, it's not too shouty, it's very, very subtle, but it certainly lets you know. Another good thing to note as well, actually, just on the exterior, is they could have had the singlet exhaust, but this one's got the quad exhaust, which is a little bit more kind of aggressive looking and showing you that you are in an SVO, Special Vehicles Operations SV Autobiography. But I love the fact that it's got the quad exhaust on there. I think that's really, really cool. So yeah, I love the fact that it's facelifted. Everything about it is awesome. So we're going to go up the road now and I'll show you what it drives like. Now, as already mentioned, this is the P565, so it is the 5-litre V8 supercharged engine in this, which are renowned to be very, very good engines from the JLR group. They are, of course, like any engine, you do have to keep them well maintained. You have to really be regular with the servicing, and it is a timing chain. And if you're not regular with the servicing, or you buy one that hasn't been, you are more susceptible to have timing chain issues, which they are starting to see now on the SVR side of things. And I also think because the SVRs are that bit more aggressive with their exhaust and things like that, the people that buy them tend to race them around a bit more. I feel like in a full-size SVAutobiography, it has that same engine, but because it's not quite so aggressive, it's almost more of a luxury cruiser type vehicle with an enormous amount of power underneath your right foot, and they are genuinely a true pleasure to drive. As much as I really wouldn't mind the 4.4 SD V8 version with this spec, because I do think those 4.4 V8 diesels are very, very good engines, and we've sold a lot of Range Rovers with them. They are perhaps more efficient in terms of running cost. They're not amazing, but they're certainly going to be better than the MPG that I'm going to get out of this. I think I'd be lucky to see 20 miles to the gallon out of this, even on the longer cruises. But if that's not really too much of a concern for you, then the 5-litre V8 is absolutely the engine to have. It's so quiet, it's so refined, but as I say, you can open it up when you want to, and you can get a really exciting thrill of a drive. It's almost indecent asking it to do what it does. The acceleration at about 5 seconds from 0 to 60 is absolutely just incredible for a car of this size. It also makes the car feel almost agile. It doesn't make it feel like it's this big bus that it actually is, because of course they're not small by any means, but when you're on the road, you're nice and high up, you've got a commanding road position, and I like the subtleness of the SVAutobiography over the SVR. The SVRs can, as I say, they're tremendous cars, really do rate them, but they're a little bit more shouty, a little bit more, they let you know that they are in an SVR. As against this, I think there's a nice mix between the two, in the sense of you are just wafting along, and people will see that obviously it is a Range Rover, but they may not know quite how special it is. And I think that's quite a nice way of getting around in a car like this. I think, like, if people know what they're looking at, and they can appreciate that it is the SV Autobiography Dynamic, then it's almost like an acknowledgement from them, but to everyone else it doesn't really matter what it is that you're driving. But they are ever so comfortable, really nice wide seat bases. The backs are really lovely. As I say, I can press this button here and it will start my my massage function throughout, and it is ever so good. Some massage functions in some cars you can just about feel it in the back, it's not really doing much, but with these I feel like it is a proper pneumatic press from the rear of the seat, so really quite comfortable as you go along. As I say, the controls on this are really quite easy. As much as I've always said in my previous videos, I do prefer buttons. The screens are always aesthetically pleasing to look at. I do prefer buttons to be able to do the controls, and in the later ones I can press the dial here, rotate it around left or right to control my seat heating or ventilation, so I like the fact that it does that. And then of course if I press it again and have the dial just turning, it'll just be for my temperature control. The fan control, you do have to use a little bit of the touchscreen to do so, which, as I say, touchscreens can be a little bit distracting because you're having to be careful where you place your finger. The only other thing that I wish was a button and not on the touchscreen, because you have to be on the right screen for it, is to be able to turn off the stop start. So I've got it on all Range Rovers that I drive or have, is that when you start it up, it's on this vehicle page so that you can turn it off. But if you've got it on your seat page or your climate page, the button's not there. And I know that's really being fussy because of course it's just a stop start. It doesn't mean anything on your drive as such other than when you come to a stop. But I like the fact that I would like it if it was just a button like a lot of other manufacturers have, that you just press the once and that's that. But yeah, I mean, as I say, when you're inside the car, it also lets you know that you are driving an SV, which is probably, you know, really quite smart and something that you'd want it to be, you know that you're in something a bit special. So the digital dials are slightly different than that of an ordinary Range Rover. The functions are very much the same, but within the dials I've got this little SVO logo within there, and I've noticed that the outer of the rev counter and also the speedo is the same outer of the button surround and the dial surround on there, so it all ties in really nicely. And of course, as I've previously mentioned, I've got the SV Autobiography bit down there. Love the red paddle shifters, again letting you know that you're just in something that's slightly out of the ordinary, slightly different, which I like. And as I say, the heads-up display is fantastic. It's very clear. You've got all the adjustments that you'd want to make, and also it'll display quite a lot of information, whether it be that you've got sat nav set up, it'll show you directions, and also you obviously got your speed limit signs, and then also your speedo itself. So a lot of information, really bright, really crystal clear on that there. But yeah, just such a nice place to be. As I say, the leather headlining's nice, the opening panoramic roof is lovely. All of the window switches are where you'd expect them to be, an enormous amount of controls with your seats and your lumbar support and everything like that. So it just feels luxury in every single element. As I say, it's not a low mileage car in my eyes, given that it's 6 years old. It has done 94,000 miles. It genuinely brings me joy that people that have owned this car, the two private owners that have had it, have enjoyed the car. They've driven it, they've done what the car is made for, and that is to do the distances that it's set up to do. So the fact that it's done the mileage doesn't worry me at all, because it has the full main dealer history to back it up. And again, we are quite fussy when it comes to that side of things within our stock anyway. You wouldn't think it had done the miles at all. It drives ever so well, and everything's running true and straight, and there's no nasty clunks or knocks or anything like that. So it's obviously been very well maintained, and these Devon roads are the perfect roads to test it on, because they're no good, is the honest truth. I've got potholes everywhere and different road surfaces within the same road where they've done patch repair jobs, just a bit rubbish really. But it handles it beautifully. As I say, that engine is so quiet, you can't really hear that. You hear tyre noise more than you hear this engine, until of course I was to put it into a sport mode, or even if I rotate this round, it puts it into a dynamic mode, which then changes my dials to be all red, gives me more information on the rev counter as well. And if I back it up just slightly, that is just incredible performance from a car of this size. and you do hear the engine roar up when you do that, and it's just an immediate kickback of power, which is absolutely fantastic. It changes the heads up display as well, so I've now got a rev meter on there too. But just what a car. Absolutely love it. The adjustable air suspension stiffened up because I put it into the dynamic mode. The steering is now slightly heavier as well to give you more of a road feel, so it makes you feel like that more sportiness and aggressiveness that goes with the drive. And then of course I can just press this button down, calms everything down again. Your throttle becomes a little less responsive and back to normal. Takes you out of the red dials and kind of just softens everything up again, for the comfort, which is obviously what it's there for. And as I say, I mean, as much as it's a beautiful car to drive, and it really is, I love driving this style of Range Rover, it just lets you feel that you're in a bit more special over and above what is already quite a nice car to drive anyway with the ordinary Range Rovers. It just, everywhere you look, it just, there's a little bit more to it, which I really do enjoy. But the honest truth is I think it's a vehicle to be driven around in, especially with the rear entertainment package and that center console that comes down, and the seat moves and adjusts for the rear passenger behind this passenger, because of course you couldn't have the same adjustments on the seat behind me, because obviously someone needs to be driving the car. But if you were a passenger, the best seat is that one back there, and I'll show you in a little bit as to why. But yeah, I mean, I love having this car in stock. I'd drive it every day if I could, but it's just not practical for me to do so. But yeah, just as I say, just what a car, an absolutely tremendous thing to drive, with all the bits to make you feel like you're in something special. I just love it. I've always been a big JLR fan, but this is just something that really is special to me, and I think it will feel very modern for quite some time. I'd almost choose one of these over the newer ones. I've not driven a newer one yet, but I have been in a couple. Nick, a trader that I buy a lot of cars from, he's got one of the newer ones. I've been in that a couple of times, and it is absolutely beautiful, don't get me wrong. But the SVO department of JLR is really quite something special, and I think driving this for the value that they are today, and I'm not saying that they're a cheap car by any means, they're not cheap to run, to maintain. They are cheap to tax now, which is great. They're not cheap to buy in the first place, but in comparison to what they were when they were new, it's definitely a car to consider if you are looking for something that will just eat up the motorway miles and give you the maximum level of comfort and also performance. Because as I say, it's indecent to ask it to do what it does, but it does it, no questions asked. The only thing to maintain, or a thing to look out for, that we do on every single one of the V8s that we have in, and we've had a fair few, is to change the water pump, because the water pumps are prone to failure, which is a real shame, really. But we've just done one on a 3-litre V6 Supercharged XJL that we got into stock, and also the 5 litres as well. They're not that expensive to buy, and it's not a horrifically bad job to do. Genuine Land Rover parts, they're about £110 plus the VAT for a new water pump, but I'd rather the expense of that than having it cook the engine, because for whatever reason they are just prone to failure. They have got better as time goes on, so it's more on the earlier models of the 5-litre V8, but just as a matter of precaution is something that I do to make sure that we're not going to have any issues going forward, especially on the water pump front. But yeah, just a gorgeous car to drive, really do enjoy driving it, but I'll show you the features of it in the back, which I think is really quite cool. Now, of course, being sat in the back of a Range Rover, I'm already very comfortable, and it is definitely a vehicle to be driven around in. But in this particular one, it has obviously the rear entertainment package, and if I press this button on my door card here, and then of course the screen will level itself out. I have a footrest here, and if I press this one on my door card again, you'll see my my leg rest is coming up as well, which is also heated as previously mentioned. And then this is a way to be driven around. It is the most relaxing position you could ever find in a car. The only thing I will say is when you are driving this car, and as I've already mentioned, it is beautiful to drive, that headrest coming down does block your view of the side mirror, so you almost have to be looking over your shoulder to do so. But as a passenger, and that's not really your problem, it's the most comfortable position to sit in. It has, of course, got its own dual climate control within the back, and again, heated and ventilated massage seats, etc. I've got these really cool cup holders within the armrest, again, all digital on there. The armrest underneath here, I've got my 2 wireless headphones, because of course I can have a wireless headphone for this screen and a wireless headphone for that screen, and they can both be watching totally different forms of media. So I've got digital TV, I've got DVD, CD, radio, etc., and it can be separate between the both. So yeah, I mean, they've thought of everything. I've got my own controls on here. I can control the blind over the top of me as well. So if I didn't want it to be glaring on my screen or didn't want the sun to be on me, I can do that. I can also put down my window, which of course is very normal. I can put down the other window, or I can put them both down at the same time. So an enormous amount of control from a passenger's point of view of what can happen within the car. And of course my footrest button here, which is already out. It is the most comfortable I've ever been. So there we have it. That is why I absolutely love this SV Autobiography Dynamic Range Rover. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. The numbers are growing, really appreciate it. And you'll also be updated with our weekly updates of what happens in our showroom here at Condor Vehicle Sales. So yeah, please hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you for the next one. Thank you.